Have you ever been ghosted? You thought things were going great, but suddenly she disappears without a trace, leaving you hanging, questioning what went wrong. Or maybe she plays hot and cold. One day she's all over you, the next day radio, silence. It's maddening, isn't it? Let me be brutally honest with you. Women are playing games, and if you don't recognize these games and know how to deal with them, you'll be stuck in an endless loop of frustration, confusion, and heartbreak. But here's the kicker: it's not your fault that these games exist, but it is your responsibility to outsmart them. Today I'm going to give you 10 bulletproof strategies to outsmart any woman playing games with your heart. And no, I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm talking about mastering yourself through Stoicism. You will become the calm in the storm, the unshakable man who women can't control. So buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride that will change the way you handle relationships forever. Before we dive into the 10 ways to outsmart women, let's get one thing straight. Why do women play these games? Why do they ghost you, breadcrumb you, or keep you in emotional limbo? The truth is, women use these games to test your emotional strength. They're checking whether they can control you, manipulate you, and make you doubt yourself. And if they succeed, you're done, you've lost. They'll lose respect for you, and you'll be left chasing after them, desperate for validation. But here's the good news: you don't have to play along. Instead of being a puppet in her emotional roller coaster, you're going to become the master of your own emotions. Through Stoicism, you will learn how to remain calm, collected, and in control no matter what game she tries to pull. This isn't just about winning with women, it's about taking control of your life. It's about refusing to be emotionally manipulated and standing tall as a man who knows his worth. So if you're tired of being played, if you're done with the emotional games, and you're ready to take your power back, stay tuned. These 10 Stoic strategies are going to change your life. Number 1. Detach emotionally. The first strategy is the foundation of all the others. Detach emotionally. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't care. It means that you're no longer controlled by your emotions. You are no longer reactive. Most guys freak out when a woman pulls away or starts acting cold. They become anxious, start overthinking, and try to fix the situation. But here's the truth. Women are testing you. They want to see how easily you crumble under pressure. And when you chase after them, desperate for their attention, you fail the test. Instead, you need to remain emotionally detached. Whether she's texting you every 5 minutes or ghosting you for a week, your emotional state needs to stay the same. You are calm, you are centered, you are not swayed by her games. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more attractive you become. Women are drawn to men who can remain composed in any situation because it shows strength, and strength, my friend, is what makes you irresistible. Number 2. Recognize behavioral patterns. Women are creatures of habit, and trust me, once you start paying attention, you'll notice patterns in their behavior that you didn't see before. Why is this important? Because patterns reveal intent. And once you see the pattern, the game becomes predictable, and when something is predictable, you can easily outsmart it. Let's break this down. One of the most common patterns you'll see is hot and cold behavior. One day she's texting you non-stop, saying how amazing you are, hinting at future plans together. The next day, nothing. Crickets. She's suddenly busy, distant, or acting like she doesn't care. It's maddening, right? This is the classic push-pull strategy. Women do this to see if they can get you to chase. If you fall for it and start blowing up her phone, asking, "Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong?" You're playing right into her hands. Here's what you need to do. Recognize that this is a test of your emotional control. She wants to see if she can get a reaction out of you. Most guys fail this test because they panic and chase harder. But you're not most guys. You're going to stay calm, composed, and let her come to you. When you don't react to her hot and cold behavior, you flip the script. Suddenly, she's the one chasing you, wondering why you didn't fall for her game. And let me be clear, this behavior isn't always malicious. Sometimes women do it subconsciously, testing your confidence without even realizing it. But whether it's intentional or not, the result is the same. You need to stay emotionally grounded and unshakable. Another pattern to watch for is the breadcrumbing technique. This is when she gives you just enough attention to keep you interested, but never fully commits. You might get a flirty text here and there, or she'll agree to hang out sometime. But when it comes time to make real plans, she's nowhere to be found. This is a game designed to keep you on the hook, investing your time and energy without getting any real commitment in return. How do you handle breadcrumbing? Easy. You call it out without anger and without emotional investment. You say something like, "Look, I'm not here for half-hearted attention. If you're not interested in spending time together, that's fine. But I'm not going to wait around for you. You're not angry. You're not emotional. And most importantly, you're not chasing." By doing this, you make it clear that you have standards, and you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve. Number 3. Set boundaries early. Setting boundaries isn't just about protecting yourself. It's about commanding respect. And here's the harsh truth. If you don't set boundaries early in the relationship, you're signaling to her that it's okay to walk all over you. Most guys are afraid to set boundaries because they think it'll scare women away. But let me tell you something, women crave boundaries. Why? Because boundaries show that you respect yourself, and a man who respects himself is a man who others will respect too. So how do you set boundaries without coming across as controlling or insecure? First, understand that boundaries are about your well-being. It's not about telling her what she can or can't do. It's about communicating what you need to feel respected in the relationship. For example, if she constantly cancels plans last minute or leaves you hanging with no explanation, you don't ignore it or shrug it off. You address it calmly and directly. Here's how it plays out. "Hey, I've noticed you've been canceling a lot lately and I value consistency. If you're not interested in making plans work, that's fine. But I'm not okay with this back and forth." You're not attacking her, you're not accusing her, you're simply stating your boundary. And here's the magic of it. When you communicate boundaries from a place of self-respect, it forces her to either step up and respect you or she'll move on. Either way, you win because you've protected your emotional energy. Let me give you a common scenario where boundaries are crucial. Say you're dating a woman who likes to flirt with other guys in front of you. She might do it to make you jealous or test how much you care. Most guys either blow up and get angry or sit there stewing in jealousy, but not you. You calmly pull her aside later and say, "Look, I'm not into games. If you're interested in other guys, that's fine, but I'm not going to stick around for that." Notice how you're not reacting emotionally. You're setting a boundary and leaving it up to her to respect it. If she doesn't, you walk away. Number 4. Stay calm under pressure. Let's not sugarcoat it. Some women will test you. Not because they're bad people, but because they want to see what kind of man you really are. Will you crack when things get tense? Will you raise your voice, chase after them, react out of fear? Or will you breathe, pause, and respond like someone who's already mastered himself? Staying calm under pressure isn't just some stoic virtue carved on ancient stone. It's a modern power move. It tells the world and her that you're in control of your emotions, not the other way around. And listen, I'm not talking about pretending to be calm while you're seething inside. I'm talking about actually slowing your breathing, lowering your voice, thinking before speaking, letting silence work in your favor. It's that moment when she says something cold or passive-aggressive, and instead of snapping back, you lock eyes and say, "Was that meant to be a dig?" Calm, centered, no heat. And that pause, that control, that changes everything. Because here's the truth, emotional chaos thrives when you feed it, but when you stay grounded it fizzles out. It has nowhere to go. You break the pattern. Picture this, you're out with a woman, and she suddenly brings up her guy friend, who she says is just super protective of her. You feel that tightening in your chest, that primal flash of jealousy creeping in. The old you might have snapped, shut down, or spiraled into overthinking, but not anymore. You take a slow breath. You smile slightly, and you reply, "He sounds like someone who takes his role seriously." Then you move the conversation elsewhere without being defensive, without getting territorial. That's high-level composure. That's Stoic muscle in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." In other words, the fire isn't outside, it's in your reaction. And when you master that, you become fireproof. There's nothing more unsettling to someone trying to provoke you than realizing you're not affected. It's not indifference, it's discipline. And it earns respect faster than anything else. Because women, especially those who play emotional games, are drawn to the man they can't shake. They want to see if you fold under pressure, if you can be baited. If they say something sharp, will you lash out or stay solid? A man who can take the tension, hold the moment, and keep his voice calm, he becomes unforgettable, not because he's cold, but because he's centered. So how do you build this calm? Start with breath. Seriously. In the middle of a heated moment, slow down your inhale and exhale. This signals your nervous system to relax, even when your brain wants to react. Use time. You don't need to respond instantly. Take a second. Let the silence stretch. Power is often in the pause. And remember, you don't need to prove anything. When you stay composed, you're not avoiding confrontation, you're rising above it. You're choosing strength over chaos, self-control over self-destruction. Let me ask you this. Have you ever lost your cool and then regretted it? Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that haunted you for days? That's because reactivity is a trap. And women who test you consciously or not are trying to see if you'll step in it. But when you stay calm, you don't just win the moment. You win respect. You show her she can't manipulate you, push you, or throw you off your center. That kind of stability is rare, and it's damn attractive. So here's your moment. Prove to yourself that you can hold steady when the pressure hits, that you don't need to yell to be heard, that your calm is louder than noise. If you're someone who's trained yourself to pause instead of panic, type this in the comments right now. Calm is my power. Let it be a reminder and a declaration. Now don't go anywhere. The next part is something too many men ignore: how to recognize red flags and walk away when something isn't right. Even when you're emotionally invested, that might be your hardest test of all, but you'll be ready. Number 5. Focus on long-term goals. Here's a reality check, and it's not easy to hear. If you let every flirtation, every mood swing, every unread message pull your attention off course, you don't have goals. You have distractions. And a distracted man is easy to control. When a woman plays emotional games, one of the most effective ways to stay unshaken is to have something bigger you're chasing. Something that doesn't revolve around her. Something that puts your time, your mind, and your energy on a path that's not tied to her validation. That's what Stoicism teaches, that a man's strength isn't just in how he reacts, it's in what he prioritizes. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That means before you let anyone else set the pace of your life, you need to know where you're going, with clarity, with purpose, with conviction. So let me ask you, what are you building? Not just financially, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, legacy-wise. Because if you're the kind of man who doesn't know what his long-term vision looks like, then you're likely to fall for any short-term drama that gives you a temporary rush, a little attention, a little validation. But if you're the kind of man who's focused, who's got clear daily disciplines, who's working on a business, building a body, sharpening his mind, then no woman, no text, no cold shoulder can knock you off center. And trust me, women notice that. They feel when you're present, but not overly attached, when you care, but not at the cost of your mission. That subtle detachment, that's powerful, because it tells her, I like you, but I don't need you to feel complete. And that's the kind of man who's magnetic. Let me give you a real example. Imagine two men. One wakes up every day scrolling his phone, hoping she replied. The other wakes up, drinks his water, hits the gym, studies his craft, and plans his next 90 days with precision. Same woman tests both with a delayed text or with hot and cold behavior. One spirals. The other shrugs and goes back to his grind. Who wins? The one who's hard to shake, the one who's on his path no matter what. You need to become that man. And I'm not talking about being cold or acting superior. I'm talking about anchoring yourself to something bigger than momentary attention. Because here's the thing, when she sees that your energy isn't entirely wrapped around her, she'll either step up or step out. And either way you win. It's when you focus on long-term goals that her mind starts asking, what's he building? Why isn't he chasing? What's he so grounded in? That curiosity often pulls her in more than compliments ever could. Women are drawn to a man who knows where he's going, not one who constantly needs to know where she is. So whether your long-term goal is launching your own company, mastering your craft, hitting a physical milestone, or building a family with purpose, hold it sacred. Let it guide your behavior, and let it filter who stays in your life. Because here's the hard truth, not everyone deserves to walk beside a man with a vision, especially not someone who's playing emotional games. If her actions don't align with your direction, then she's not the test you are. Will you stay focused, or will you fold? You can flirt with distractions, or you can commit to the mission, but not both. So if you're watching this and you've already chosen the long game, say it now in the comments. I choose the mission. Short, simple, unshakable. Say it like a man who knows his future matters more than temporary confusion. And get ready, because next we're talking about something crucial: how to identify and walk away from manipulative patterns with zero guilt. You don't want to miss that. Let's go. Number 6. Avoid emotional retaliation. Let's be honest. When someone pushes your buttons, especially someone you're emotionally connected to, the temptation to strike back is real. She ghosts your text. You think about ignoring her for 3 days. She makes a passive-aggressive comment. You're tempted to one-up it with a subtle jab. She flirts with another guy in front of you. You picture doing the same just to balance the situation. But here's the hard truth. Emotional retaliation is weakness in disguise. It feels like control. It feels like power. But it's just reaction. It's letting her behavior shape yours. And that's the exact opposite of Stoicism. When you retaliate emotionally, you're not standing strong. You're handing her the remote to your nervous system. You're letting her lead, and you're dancing to her emotional rhythm. A Stoic man doesn't play that game. He doesn't need to teach a lesson or show her how it feels. He teaches through consistency, and he shows her how he handles disrespect, not with revenge, but with clarity and distance. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Think about that. The best response isn't to mirror the chaos, it's to rise above it. Now let's make this real. Say you're texting someone you've been seeing for a few weeks. You were getting closer. Things seemed solid. Then suddenly, she pulls back. The energy shifts. You sense a game. She stops replying like before. Maybe she throws in a just friends comment to test your reaction. You're boiling. You want to pull away. To make her feel what you're feeling. That's emotional retaliation knocking at your door. But instead, what if you took a breath and said, "Sounds like you're figuring out what you want. Take your time, I won't be chasing." Boom. No anger. No drama. Just composed self-respect. That's the move of a man who's mastered himself. Because here's what happens when you retaliate. You lose leverage. You move from being the grounded one to being the reactive one. You become just another guy who couldn't control himself. Women might spark the fire, but it's always your choice whether or not to pour gasoline on it. And don't get me wrong, it's not about being passive. You don't let things slide. But your responses should always reflect your standards, not your frustration. Disrespect deserves distance, not drama. That woman who's testing you, pulling away, seeing how much she can stir up your emotions. She's not looking for your tantrum, she's looking for your foundation. She wants to know, is this man anchored or is he pretending? And when you show her that no matter how she acts, you remain composed, calm, and in control of your own emotional state, you become the rarest type of man. Stoicism isn't apathy, it's direction. It's choosing the higher road, not because you're soft, but because you're focused. You're playing the long game. Let me put it another way. If your emotions can be controlled by someone else's mood, then you're not free. You're chained to their chaos. But if you can take a hit, pause, breathe, and still choose your next step based on your principles, not your pride, that's freedom. It might not feel satisfying in the moment. Revenge rarely does in the long run. But walking away with your dignity intact, that's a power you never have to fake. So next time you're tested, and you will be, remember this: she can act however she wants. But how you respond, that defines the man you are. If you've ever chosen peace over pettiness, self-respect over emotional retaliation, type this in the comments right now. I choose clarity. It means you don't need chaos to feel alive. You've got a mission, a path, a mindset rooted in real strength. And trust me that strength doesn't go unnoticed. Stick around. In the next part, we're talking about how to spot manipulation fast before it pulls you in. You don't want to miss it. Let's keep going. Number 7. Communicate clearly and firmly. Let's make this simple. If you want to stop games before they start or shut them down mid-play, you've got to speak with clarity and firmness. No double meanings, no wishy-washy maybes. Just calm, direct truth. Women who play emotional games don't just test your patience, they test your words. They want to see if you say what you mean, and if you mean what you say. And most men fail that test. They beat around the bush. They sugarcoat. They try to manage her reactions instead of standing on solid ground. But here's the thing. The Stoic man doesn't raise his voice, but he never lowers his standards either. His words are clean, his delivery is calm, and his message unmistakable. Now let's put that into context. You're dating a woman. She cancels plans last minute, but you've noticed a pattern. It's the third time. Most guys would either say nothing or they'd lash out. But not you. You say, "I like spending time with you, but I don't entertain inconsistency. If this isn't something you're serious about, that's okay. But I don't wait around." Boom. No drama. No chasing. No trying to fix it. Just clarity, boundaries, self-respect in motion. That's what Stoic communication looks like. And it works because it forces honesty to the surface. It tells her exactly what kind of man she's dealing with. And listen, I know it's tempting to be vague. You don't want to rock the boat. You're afraid you'll scare her off. But here's what really scares women off: a man who says one thing but does another. A man who flinches in his words. a man who talks in circles. Unclear language creates unclear relationships. It leads to assumptions, confusion, manipulation. But when your communication is clean and firm, it draws a line in the sand. She either steps forward with you or steps away. Both are wins. Now let's look at what firm communication isn't. It's not controlling. It's not aggressive. It's not manipulative. You're not trying to dominate the conversation. You're anchoring it. You're making your position known in a way that commands respect, not fear. And here's the beauty. When you speak clearly, you eliminate guesswork. She doesn't need to wonder what you meant. She knows. And that clarity, that's what builds attraction. Not the fake mystery. Not the play it cool and hope she figures it out vibe. Actual direction. Actual confidence. Seneca said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." When you avoid clear communication, you're suffering in silence. You're tolerating things that don't align with your values. And you're teaching her that unclear behavior is okay. You have to teach people how to treat you, not through lectures, through how you speak, through what you tolerate, through what you let slide and what you walk away from. Let me give you a quick example. You're seeing someone. She makes a backhanded comment like, "You're probably talking to 5 other girls anyway." The weak move, laugh it off, or respond with sarcasm. The firm move, you say, "I don't play those games." If you've got something on your mind, speak directly. You just shut the game down before it started. And you did it without raising your voice. That's clarity. That's strength. The kind of strength women respect, even if they don't always admit it. And if you're thinking, "But what if she leaves after I speak that clearly?" Then she was never going to stay. Real connection starts with real communication. If she can't handle your honesty, she can't handle your presence either. So be the man who says what he means and means what he says. And if you're that man or becoming him, drop this in the comments. I speak with clarity. Own it. Say it like it's who you are. Because the next time someone tries to pull you into a game of silence, guilt, or confusion, you'll already have your answer. Not in what you say, but in how you say it. Up next, we'll talk about protecting your peace when to disengage, and why walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Let's keep building. Number 8. Prioritize your own well-being. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked in with yourself? Not for work, not for a woman, not to fix anyone else's mess, but purely for your own peace. See, this isn't just about attraction anymore. It's about survival, mental, emotional, even physical. Because when you're caught up in mind games, emotional swings, and constantly reacting to someone else's behavior, one thing always suffers: your well-being. And let's be clear, well-being isn't just spa days and meditation. It's about protecting your mental clarity, your emotional stability, and your physical energy from being drained by things that don't serve you. Now here's the truth most men ignore. If you don't prioritize yourself, nobody else will. Especially not someone who's used to manipulating attention, drama, or guilt to stay in control. Women who play games feed on ungrounded men. Guys who've disconnected from their own needs, forgotten their own path, and made someone else their emotional center. But a man who prioritizes his own well-being, that man is dangerous in the best way possible. He's untouchable by petty tactics. He sees the game before it starts, and he never trades his peace for attention. Why? Because he knows his time, energy, and focus are sacred, and he guards them like a lion. Now I want you to picture this. You're seeing someone. Things are fun at first. Then, slowly, drama creeps in. She gets distant one day, overly sweet the next. She cancels last minute. She brings up an ex, she forgets your boundaries, and you start to feel it. That slow erosion of focus. Your gym sessions get skipped. Your mood gets shaky. You check your phone more than usual. You start wondering what's going on with her. Pause. That's the exact moment to pivot, not toward her, but back toward yourself. Because you don't fix chaos by chasing it. You fix it by returning to your center. That means journaling your thoughts to get clear. That means recommitting to your training, your sleep, your mission. That means pulling back not to punish, but to protect. And most of all, it means giving yourself permission to disengage. You don't owe your energy to someone who drains it. You don't need to explain your distance when your peace is under threat. The Stoics had a word for this, euthymia. It means a sense of inner calm that comes from walking your own path, unshaken by outside noise. When you live from that space, you're not reactive. You're intentional. You don't spiral into her mood swings. You don't bend every time she tests your strength. You simply choose yourself. Again and again. And this isn't selfish. It's strategic. Because if you fall apart every time a woman pulls away or acts cold, you're not in control, your emotions are. But when you say, I need space, I need focus, I need to protect my mental state, you flip the script. You make your well-being non-negotiable. And ironically, that's when attraction returns. That's when she sees you as solid, not because you're always available, but because you know when to pull away with dignity. The truth is, prioritizing your well-being filters people. Those who respect it, they lean in. Those who don't, they fade out. Either way, you win. So let me ask you again, when was the last time you protected your energy like it mattered? If you're ready to draw the line to stop pouring into people who empty you, type this in the comments. I choose peace. Say it, mean it, and live it. Because in a world that constantly pulls you in 10 directions, the man who guards his peace is the one who actually wins the long game. You've got one life, one body, one mind. Treat them like gold. Coming up next, what happens when you go silent? Not as a tactic, but as a declaration. You'll want to hear this. Stay locked in. Number 9, practice patience. Here's something most men mess up. They rush. They rush the connection, rush the decision, rush the meaning behind every little message, glance, or delay. Especially when dealing with someone who might be playing games, patience feels unnatural, like you're losing control if you don't react right now. But the Stoic man, he knows that real control doesn't show up in reaction, it shows up in restraint. Patience isn't passive, it's powerful, and it might be the most underrated weapon you have. Now think about this. She pulls back a little, doesn't reply for a few hours, says something cryptic, your instinct, to fix it, to send another message, to ask if something's wrong. But here's the thing, when you move too quickly, too emotionally, you reveal something. You're not grounded. You're giving her emotional power she hasn't earned. And that opens the door to manipulation, drama, and games you don't want to play. What would a man rooted in patience do instead? He waits. Not because he doesn't care, but because he refuses to let temporary noise shake his core. The Stoics believed in mastering the moment before the moment controls you. That means letting situations unfold without trying to force them, observing before reacting, responding only when necessary and only from a calm state. Let me put it another way. When you're patient, you stay unpredictable. When you're impatient, you become easy to read, easy to bait. A woman says something passive-aggressive. You smile and stay silent. She tries to stir drama with jealousy. You acknowledge, but you don't flinch. She ghosts you for a bit. You move on with your day. That's power. See, patience isn't about doing nothing. It's about choosing when to act, and more importantly, when not to. It's knowing that the best reaction is sometimes no reaction at all. That subtle pause, that delayed response, that calm eye contact instead of an emotional outburst, it sends a message you're a man of depth, of discipline, of self-control, and women feel that. They may not say it, but they respect it. It creates tension. It makes them wonder what you're thinking, what you'll do, what truly matters to you. And in a world full of impulsive, attention-starved behavior, your patience becomes magnetic. Let's bring this down to reality for a second. You meet someone new. She's charming, flirty, but inconsistent. One day she's sending hearts. The next she's distant. Most guys get caught in the loop, trying to decode, trying to fix, trying to impress. You don't play that game. You match her energy without chasing it. You respond, but you never rush. You stay focused on your routine, your growth, your goals. She starts to notice. Why? Because you're not reacting like every other guy. You're playing a different game, the long game, the Stoic game. And that kind of presence is unforgettable. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Think about that. It's not what she did. It's how fast you let it hit your emotions. Practicing patience is about slowing down your emotional reflex. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every behavior requires a response. Sometimes the best move is to wait, to breathe, to see what happens next without losing your center. Now, don't confuse patience with passivity. You still lead, you still have standards, you still speak when it's time. But you don't get baited. You don't over-explain, and you definitely don't chase chaos to feel validated. So here's your challenge. The next time you feel the urge to react, pause, count to 5. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy right now? That little pause, it could save you hours of regret and preserve your peace. If you're serious about building that kind of patience, drop this in the comments. Calm is my strength, because it is. When she's pushing buttons, when things feel uncertain, when your ego wants to take the wheel, stay grounded, stay still, because that moment you didn't react. That's where your power lives. Now in the next part we'll talk about the ultimate move, knowing when to walk away. Not out of anger, but out of wisdom. Let's finish strong. Number 10. Choose when to walk away. Here's something most men don't realize until it's too late. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strategy, and more than that, it's freedom. When you're dealing with someone who plays emotional games, who tests boundaries, who constantly puts you in situations where your value feels questioned, the most powerful thing you can ever do is leave on your own terms. Let's be honest, most guys stay way too long in bad dynamics. They hope things will change. They wait for her to come around. They ignore red flags. They over-explain, over-give, over-apologize. Why? Because they don't want to feel rejected, or they're addicted to the potential of what the relationship could be. But Stoicism teaches something different, something harder but more true. You don't chase hope, you choose clarity. When a situation becomes toxic, draining, or manipulative, the Stoic doesn't argue. He doesn't beg. He doesn't try to teach someone how to treat him. He simply walks, not with drama, not with rage, but with peace. Because a man who knows his value doesn't stay in a place where it's questioned. Now that doesn't mean you bail at the first sign of discomfort. Patience, composure, communication, they all come first. But when a pattern reveals itself, when someone consistently disrespects your standards, your boundaries, or your presence, that's when the decision becomes simple. Do I protect my energy, or do I keep bleeding it? The Stoic chooses peace every time. Let me give you something practical. Imagine this. You're seeing a woman who's hot and cold. One day she's affectionate, the next day distant. She flirts with other guys in front of you. She ignores your concerns, turns every conversation into a test. You've already tried being clear. You've been patient. You've focused on your goals. You've stayed calm. But nothing changes. That's your moment. Right there. You either stay in the cycle or you step out of it entirely. You don't need to yell. You don't need a dramatic goodbye. You just stop giving your time to someone who wastes it. And here's the twist. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself more than the illusion of control. There's deep strength in saying, I'm not angry, I'm just done. That quiet exit. That's what shocks people, because it means you're not attached to outcome, you're loyal to your values, and that makes you untouchable. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control, her behavior, her choices, her games, outside your control, your response. That's yours to own." And sometimes the strongest response is no longer showing up, no longer playing, no longer participating in something that dims your light. Walking away doesn't need to be bitter. It can be a calm return to your path. And when you walk, not because you're pushed, but because you've decided, it creates an energy shift, a power she wasn't expecting, a silence louder than any words. You stop asking for respect and start living in it. Now, if you're listening to this thinking, that's hard, I don't want to walk away yet, that's okay. Sometimes we need to hear it more than once. Sometimes it takes one more cycle to really get tired. But when you do, when you reach that point, remember this moment. Remember that you don't need permission. You don't need closure. You don't even need them to understand. You only need to choose peace over chaos. Your life is yours. Protect it. If you're ready to reclaim your power and only give your energy to what truly honors it, drop this in the comments. I choose my peace. Say it, own it, walk in it. Because sometimes the strongest man in the room is the one who leaves it. If this video hit something real for you, that's not an accident. You're here because you're done playing games, done chasing approval, done living in confusion, noise, and emotional chaos. You're here because you're choosing clarity, strength, and peace. That's what this channel is about. And if that's your mission too, don't just watch, subscribe. Then, if you're ready to go deeper, join the Stoic community. That's where the men who live this mindset come together. We talk, we grow, we sharpen each other, and we hold the line when life gets loud. You'll find the link below. Thank you for watching. Take what you've learned today, apply it in silence, and let your life speak louder than words. I'll see you tomorrow.